So Josh Weil and Gay Valimont have lost when it comes to District 1 and District 6 in Florida. There was one blue district right there, Escambia County, but then red district, and then all the districts in number 6 turned out to be red. Now, there is, a little bit of a silver lining. Donald actually won these districts by like 30 points, okay? So Gay Valimont, she lost this district by 15%, right? 15 points. So she's closing the gap. And then Josh Weil, he also lost his by 14 points. So that's closing the gap. A victory would have sent shockwaves because it's saying even the red districts are sick of Donald's shit. But apparently they're not sick of his shit. Apparently 77 million Americans are a bunch of wicked, racist, sexist, fascist pieces of shit who don't give a fuck about the three branches, who don't give a fuck about the enumerated powers, don't give a fuck about the Constitution or the Bill of Rights. They don't give a shit whatsoever. They want to kiss their Führer's ass, and then I'm guessing that they want people to obey them, right? So they want to obey their Führer and then turn around and say, well, my Führer says I get to oppress you. A fascist is a person who oppresses somebody with the threat of violence. And that's, these are scary times. So since Randy Fine beat Josh Weil in the 6th district, what does that mean? Well, that means you got one more vote in Congress that's going to be for genocide. He says, to hell with the Palestinians, they want to do genocide. They can't wait to do more genocide. Randy Fine also hates Disney World. So Florida might kick Disney World out and do more genocides. So, yeah, that's what fucking Florida did for us. It's kind of despicable. And then even, the majority of people did not vote. We have a huge problem with our democratic republic. Elections, fascists don't want elections either. Right? Just put a dictator in there and just let him be the damn dictator forever and ever and ever. Let's see. Jimmy Petronas wins a special election. Alright, so now let's see what... here's left-wing mafia. What's left-wing mafia talking about?
To Russian interests. Like, it's war in Ukraine. That's one thing. So, when Temple is commenting, Ethan, join the good side, and you're talking about someone that is literally a paid Russian asset, or an alleged paid Russian asset. Are you really, are you really on the right side of history? I don't know, probably not. So this is the type of content that Temple is making.
They know it. But I don't know that it matters anymore. This is psychotic. Ukraine is the enemy of this country. Ukraine is our enemy, being funded by the Democrats. I will stress this again. One of the greatest enemies of our nation right now is Ukraine. They are expanding this war. Now, don't get me wrong, I know. You've got criminal elements of the U.S. government pushing them and guiding them and telling them what to do. Ukraine is now accused, a German war issued, for blowing up the Nord Stream pipeline. Triggering this conflict. Ukraine is the greatest threat to this nation and to the world. We should rescind all funding and finance.
Yeah, okay, you get the point. Then we have Ethan Klein and Keemstar, which is its whole lore separate.
So we're talking about Ethan Klein and Keemstar? Why are the leftist mafia, why don't they give a damn about winning elections? They don't care about saving, what's best about America. It seems to me that if you got fascism, Fred Hampton, he says, we got to stop fascism or fascism is going to stop us all. And what killed Fred Hampton? Well, fascists did. Fascists came in the middle of the night and killed Fred Hampton when he was sleeping. And when it came to World War II, who stopped fascism? Well, you had the communists, right? Communist, USSR, Stalin. Stalin stopped fascism. Mussolini, Tojo, Adolf. And then America. So you could say two things stop fascism. Number one, classical liberalism. The Bill of Rights people. The people that say we got freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom from want, freedom from fear. FDR talked about the 4 freedoms during World War II. So, classical liberals, which, if you really think about it, since conservatives are supposed to maintain the status quo, then classical liberalism is conservative, since George Washington is a classical liberal. John Adams is classical liberal. Because if we don't do classical liberalism, then we're going to have to do, anarchism or communism or federalism. Maybe we just need to have a bunch of conventions and, write ourselves a brand new constitution. So I'm going to hold out for a little bit longer because I want America to be strong. I want a bunch of strong Americans. And not so much, it'd be nice if everybody's working out and was strong, but ultimately, to be a strong American means you love this country and you love what this country was founded upon. I remember getting made fun of in college because I wasn't paying attention to the Federalist Papers very much. There's people in this country that haven't read the preamble and they haven't read the Bill of Rights. And the thing with natural law is if you don't get the little freedoms of, speech and peacefully assembling, then you have a right to everything. We're all born with the right to everything, and in a way we give up that right. We give up that right for these little freedoms. So if you take away the little freedoms, then we go back to a right to everything. And if you know anything about, just logic, but Hobbes, he points out if everybody has a right to everything, well, that's going to be war. Hey, I have a right to do what I want to do in my house and my land, and I have a right to you and your body and your land and your house. That's a right to everything. So if everybody has that same right, I have a right to all you, and all you all have a right to all of us, and there's no dividing lines. It's just natural law, whatever the hell anybody could get away with. Hobbes says our lives are going to be short, nasty, brutish, just terrible, right? A war of all against all. And so the whole point of a civil society is that we give up a right to everything. We accept that we have a right to, grand jury indictments for felony accusations, the right to remain silent. We get the 8th Amendment, right? Free from cruel and unusual punishments. We get the 7th Amendment, 6th Amendment, 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, 1st. There's rights within the body of the Constitution. There's also rights at the end. And, even if you don't agree with somebody else's interpretation, you could read the Constitution, I could read the Constitution, and we could just say what we think it means. And that would be revolutionary. That would be revolutionary. Because if we're not going to even preserve classical liberalism, there's a lot of problems with anarchism. There's a lot of problems with communism. But I feel like the more radical that the fascists get, and then that these, leftist mafia people are just a bunch of, look at Ethan Klein. It's all Ethan Klein's fault. You are wasting everybody's fucking time. Did you even know that there is an election in Florida's 1st and 6th district? How come you didn't know that there was an election in Florida's 1st and 6th district? The margin in the House is only 4 seats. It's like forced to vote. Man, if fucking Sam Cedar and Gene Ugar would have fucking been on the side of forced to vote, then what? AOC would have stood up to Nancy Pelosi? We would have got ourselves some health care? But instead of having any goddamn health care, well, I have to deal with these motherfuckers. These are the people these are my therapists. And you think these therapists are any fucking good? I guess the older I get, the less I'm into celebrity culture, and it's just so fucking disappointing because some people just have all these privileges that are just, put upon them. They could just put out, a damn video of them shaking their ass and make a bunch of fucking money and then, donate it to charity. That's good. Those are all good things. But some people just shake their ass and then collect on that dollar and say, fuck the world. What good is that? Do we need a bunch of Hawk Tuas? Is that going to be good for America? If we're going to elevate all the Hawk Tuas of the world, well, she made that funny joke that one time when she was drunk in Nashville. She should be president. Let's make her a millionaire. I'm going to invest in Hawk Tua meme coin and Melania meme coin. And then ultimately lying, cheating, stealing. You don't see how having a greedy capitalist society, which is criminal, ultimately is going to destroy us all. And if this is late-stage capitalism, people are not acting like this is late-stage capitalism. People are not acting like the empire is crumbling. That we're in the last vestiges of, being whatever the hell we've been doing. We'll just have to find a new enemy, right? And say, they're the bad guys, keep all of America distracted, and then I like being a free country. I like being a nation of free people. But we're going to sell our fucking nation down the goddamn river to fascism. And it's almost like people are so afraid of communism that they've embraced fascism or some shit. Anarchism just means the absence of government. So is it possible for two neighbors to get along without having a third person to govern them? I think that's totally possible. There's not too many historical examples, and you would need like-minded folks. And if there's a gunman who's, just going crazy, then you'll need people to stand up. Strong enough, brave enough, courageous enough to stand up against that crazed gunman. So, more about, oh man, it's all Ethan Klein's fault. You are in such a weird fucking bubble. What a weird bubble you are in.
Ethan Klein shares tweets from Keemstar's Drama Alert. Twitch streamer Frogan hopes American soldiers get PTSD. Which, listen, she did do that, and then she doubled down, and then she apologized. Do I agree with what she did there? Not entirely. I think that is more nuanced than that. I also do recognize that she's a Lebanese woman who has been impacted by American imperialism and American activity in the Middle East for decades now. So I don't think it's my place to speak on what she said or not. So Keemstar also called out Hassan for, quote, anti-white racism. Keemstar tweets, racism is racism no matter what race is being targeted. There has been no remorse for his words/actions. It's more than fair to call him a racist at this point. When platforms make rules on racism, those rules protect every race, not just the ones you like.
Hillbilly, hick, mayonnaise monkey, vanilla gorilla, and numerous other kinds of words, or honky, whitey, numerous other kinds of words, redneck, hillbilly, hick.
God damn it.